Welcome to Out of Bounds, Episode 4. It is Mike Lucio here at Rocket Sports Cards. I promise you that tonight's episode is completely off the cuff. Neither one of us come into this very prepared, but I think we're really going to have a lot of fun with this. I think this is going to be our most interactive and most talked about show since we debuted Out of Bounds 4 weeks ago. Our topics tonight are going to be a lot of fun. We have 5 really good topics that everybody can join in on, and we want you to join in on. I just want to say a quick hello to my old man's watching. Alex from Detroit said he's not missing another show, and you shouldn't either. If you're watching right now on YouTube, which you are, do us a favor and hit the like button. You're already here, so like the broadcast. And then if you're watching for the first time on the repeat, or what do you call it?
On the stream, on the repeater.
On the repeat. Definitely hit subscribe and let us know what you think of the video as well. Andrew McKinley's online, Owen's online, Jay, Floyd, we got everybody online tonight. So I'm going to welcome Brandon in right now.
Hey guys, good to see you all. I love the fact that you're all online and getting ready to rock and roll with us tonight. As you can see, we've got our topics up. 5 interesting topics that did not really need a significant amount of planning for. So
we have no notes tonight.
So we're going to be relying on you guys to help drive the show tonight.
I can talk. I can tell you that right now. I can talk about anything for an hour's not enough time usually. But I'm going to leave it open to everybody tonight. We're just going to have a chat. So let's run down the topics right now. What is the most dangerous sport to play? We're not gonna give our answers just yet, but you guys can kind of stew on that for a few minutes and maybe give us some examples of what you think. Number 2, what team has the worst fans? There's plenty of teams out there that have terrible fans. We're gonna give some opinions tonight on that. And do you chirp fans? So are you part of the problem? Basically, are you part of the problem?
Are you part of the problem?
Biggest upset this weekend. So for most of you that watch sports, plenty of playoff action right now with the NBA, with NHL. But we're looking maybe NFL for this one. There's a couple upsets. What you would deem an upset yesterday in the NFL for the first weekend. It is the first weekend, so we do take a grain of salt with that. And then what sport do you want to try? So if there's a sport out there that you've always said, that doesn't look so hard, and you guys can tell us what you guys want to try, and then I'll tell you that you can't do it.
That's fair. I guess that's fair. Nothing but honesty.
But you can make fun of us at the same time. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll give it a couple minutes. MMA is the hardest sport. Okay. If you think so, I think a lot of people can fight. Fighting is a natural instinct for a human being. So, fighting well is something that maybe people don't do. But I think MMA might be the easiest sport to get into because we genetically have that ability. So we're not doing anything there that extreme lawn bowling. Yeah, a lot of people getting into.
Yep.
Oh, he meant what is a sport that's most dangerous? Is MMA. Oh, I would say yeah, that's probably up there. We'll see where it falls on the list.
There is a lot of blood in MMA. I'll give you that, Owen. Good to see you there, buddy. I'm glad you tuned in again. Thank you very much.
All right, so we got a ton of people on watching already. Definitely let your friends know about Out of Bounds. We're gonna have a ton of fun tonight. So without further ado, we're 5 minutes in almost. Let's start the clock. We got 10 minutes. We're gonna open up with what is the most dangerous sport to either play or watch? I don't know. Maybe watching sports is dangerous at times.
Depends on the household you're in.
But I'll let Brandon kick off with this one.
Okay, so I actually thought about this, and then when I came in and I talked to Mike prior to the show, I have 2 different answers. So the most dangerous sport that I would think in terms of injury, and you're going to laugh, you're going to think it's ridiculous, but I think is gymnastics. I know there have been so many injuries in gymnastics where you've seen guys and girls, legs, ankles, arms just explode when they get onto those things. Now, I had a daughter who was in competitive gymnastics, and she, at her age, was doing big, gigantic flips over top of the bar. That scared the hell out of me. Like, watching my daughter do that, I used to be the voice guy for competitions at a local gymnastics club here. So I got to sit and watch highly competitive athletes run, flip, fall, some landing right on their face, some bars when they'd slip off the bars and there's nothing to catch them. They have they have mats, but oftentimes they're missing those mats, or they're landing on that balance beam, which is only 4 inches thick. Their ankle twists, and the next thing you know, they're falling 4 or 5 feet down to the ground on a single foot that's already twisted. That kind of stuff was incredibly dangerous. The other thing that I was thinking about now when we were talking...
Can I have a... Before you get into...
rebuttal, absolutely.
Rebuttal. Okay, I laughed at gymnastics because the first thing that comes to mind for me is the ribbon. Okay? and then I literally said to Brandon, I'm like, look, dude, with a week, maybe 2 weeks of proper training, I could probably be an Olympic gymnast, and I'm 300 and some pounds.
Where are you going to get the unitard from?
They make them my size, okay? But anyways, the ribbon to me voids all conversation. I know it's a dangerous sport, but I think any sport that involves speed and abrupt stopping has the exact same problem with the leg blowing out.
For sure.
The exact same thing happens in football, baseball, just because of such force. Stopping at such a quick pace. Like I can understand that. And I totally agree with you that it's a sport where you see a lot of injuries. We got people tuning in here. Bobsledding, very good one actually.
Yeah, that
because
is
a lot of
good
people
one.
do get seriously injured bobsledding.
Yeah.
Bullfighting, that was one of the ones that I brought up. I was leaning towards more. If you participate in a sport, you could die. I don't know. Unless something horribly goes wrong in gymnastics, I don't think anybody's going to die. You would literally have to break your neck or land on your head the wrong way.
Which I don't know.
And I don't know if that's even ever happened.
No. So that got me thinking of my second one, and that would be free climbing. Free climbing. So if you were climbing up a mountain, free face, not sticking the little sticks in and strapping yourself to the mountain, all you have is you and chalk on your hands. That would be the sport that I would think would be the most dangerous. One wrong move, and you are looking at hundreds of feet to thousands of feet straight down.
So I totally agree. I was thinking along the lines like a sport that if you made a wrong decision, you could die instantly. So this has got to be the most dangerous sport to take part in. I think the most dangerous team sport, in my opinion, would probably be rugby. Rugby is exactly like football, but without the padding.
Yep.
Very high force. That's a team sport, though. That is not my answer. My answer, and I'm looking more at the fact that the environment can kill you. One wrong move on a surfboard, and you're dead. You could drown. You could be tore up by the coral underneath you.
That's true.
You could be attacked by a shark.
Which is unlikely, but it can happen, yes.
A shark attack is more likely to happen in surfing than a serious injury in gymnastics.
Well, I agree with that, but I was thinking of bodily injury, not someone dying.
So for me,
I wasn't going so morbid.
For me, and there's been numerous shark attacks that have killed surfers.
Sure.
There's been more than numerous drownings because of currents and riptides. So the dangerous thing with surfing is the rugby football debate. Yes, that's a team sport, though. They're both dangerous, obviously. I'll read your comment in a second, Owen. I'm just going to finish off with my surfing. Surfing, we know we can drown easily. And it's one of those things like you fall off your board, you get so a lot of people get disoriented when they fall off their board. I've talked to professional surfers before, and they said we're not afraid of sharks. We're part of the water type thing, but it's the disorientation of falling off your board and not knowing where you are. Because for those of you that don't know, I frequent Hawaii on vacation, and they literally say that if you go out to the bonsai or the pipeline, same thing. But anyways, if you go there, you could go underneath, and there's like a cavern of like caves and like dark areas that you could actually get sucked under.
Oh.
And they're literally, that was Waimea Bay too, and they're literally pulling people out. They just kind of pop up a couple days later and end up on the beach. There's people coming up all the time. It's people that try to surf for the first time and think they're cool and want to go out on a 30-foot wave, and it's game over.
Yeah. I have an interesting story about that. I was whitewater rafting in Costa Rica, and we went over a waterfall. And when you're talking about the disorientation, like we were in a raft where we had 4 people, so our raft was going to be tipped over because you went straight down. There were other rafts that were able to make it.
Yep.
When I ended up in the water, I remember opening my eyes in the water and swimming towards light. And I was swimming the wrong way. I was swimming down, And I actually was like, okay, wait a second. I'm not getting any closer to this. And I stopped swimming and I popped up and the guy grabbed me and he goes, we thought you were gone. Like he actually thought I had drowned.
Brandon brings up whitewater rafting. I have been whitewater rafting as well in the Ottawa River during May 24. Not the best time to go whitewater rafting. There's still ice floating down the river. We came up to Whitewater and it was called the Bus Eater. So the reason they call it the Bus Eater is because literally they could fit a full-size bus into the indentation that the water made, and you have to go down and up over. So me being a massive guy, they said, we need to put you at the front. I said, okay. So we got to paddle as hard as we can and get up, because you pop up like this, and then they wanted me with everything I had to push down and try and level us out to go on top of the water, or we would have flipped over and got washed out.
Right.
So literally, like, I would say out of 15 or 20 boats, I'd say probably 3 of us didn't flip. So I literally saved everybody's life that day.
Superhero Mike.
Charlie don't surf. Okay, so back surfing is number 1 for me, but I also brought up, I don't know a lot of people that have done this, but base jumping. I have to say base jumping, like you literally have like 3 or 4 seconds to pull your string, or you're done.
Yeah.
And you know there's been times where there was a malfunction, and it happens. But anything where you're jumping out and coming at the earth, or there's the chance of getting eaten by a shark, I really think those are very dangerous. Can we go back up on the comments there?
Yeah, I saw some really good ones. Alex had street luge a while back, which I thought was...
Street luge is a really cool answer. So there's so many sports. There's so many extreme sports now.
So
they all have their dangers to them. Like being a baseball player growing up, at any time, I've got good reflexes, but at any time playing third base or pitching, I could have took a line drive off the head. It's a split-second thing. Luckily, you're quick enough. If you're good enough, you're quick enough to avoid something like that. But Major League Baseball players get hit in the head with line drives. You know what I mean? So you got to be paying attention. Plenty of people have died playing hockey. Guys have had heart attacks on the bench. And that's a natural thing, I guess. That was them.
I mean, Yuri Fisher died on the ice and came back.
So, not just Yuri Fisher. We've got a friend of the store, Al. Al had a heart attack and had to be flown to London. They had to use defibrillator on him on the ice. But anything can happen, right? So,
rodeo bull riding is an interesting one, too, because I could not imagine getting kicked by a bull that was trying to buck me off. You know what I mean?
The running of the bulls is something that someone brought up too when I was having this conversation the other night. So the running of the bulls is very interesting because that's not athletes, that's just modern day people or common folk joining in on this celebration of running of the bulls. And yeah, I imagine most of them have done it before, but just a really cool thing, right? I don't want to talk too much about bullfighting because it's kind of a vulgar. We don't want to get into the politics of that, but not the coolest sport by any means. If anything, I think fair is fair. Going back to like Austin Powers, I think they should put lasers on the bulls. Bulls with freaking lasers on their head. You know what I mean? If you're gonna have a sword to stab me, I get to have a weapon too, kind of thing. You know. But I guess they do have horns. I guess. But we're gonna wrap that one up. But that was an awesome topic, guys. We had a ton of comments there. So
sorry we didn't get to all of you.
We didn't get to all of you, but MMA definitely has to be up there. You literally, but the one thing you need to know about MMA is that if a guy knows that he's got a guy down and out, he usually lays off of him.
Yeah.
He's not trying to kill him.
Yeah.
The referee's also there to stop that from happening. So it's one of those things where it's a very dangerous sport, but they push limits. Like they pull you back when you get too close. You know what I mean? So it's kind of safe in that way too.
All right.
Just like boxing.
What team? Worst fans? I started the last one. It's your turn.
What team has the worst fans? I'm going to go with what teams have the worst fans. I will give you one from each of the 4 major sports, to be fair.
Okay. I've only got 2.
Okay. So...
and they're not major sports, actually.
So, okay. So, one is definitely...
Well, one is major,
but
not here. It's not major here.
So... you guys can comment along for who has the worst fans on the right hand side there. For you guys, it's on the left hand side here, but we want to hear what you think as well. Being so close to Detroit and Toronto, you got to hear it all the time. I'm a Montreal Canadiens supporter or fan, I guess you would call it. I go like this, fan, because I think I'm a little bit past being a fan. I don't buy anything. Like I don't financially support the team. So to call yourself a fan is kind of childish in my opinion. It's kind of like that's for people that don't get it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. But anyways, being so close to Detroit, I'm tired of hearing about 25 years of consecutive playoffs or whatever it was. I'm tired of hearing about how you're hockey town. You know what I want to tell you is that you got like 4,000 people at the game the last time I was there for the Montreal Canadiens. I don't care how bad you are. I don't care how bad the Montreal Canadiens are if you want to compare. There's not going to be 4,000 people in the stands ever. So you can't tell me, oh, they only support a winning team. So to me, that's a terrible fan base. That's a terrible fan base. And the other one would be the Toronto Maple Leafs for hockey. That's an easy one. Mind you, there's a ton of people that are terrible fans. But every year the Toronto Maple Leaf fans are planning the route, the Stanley Cup route, and you got to hear about it, how they got all these hot players. Well, when push comes to shove, they're never going to win anything. So I'm going to move on. Hockey, you've got my two. I want to get into. I'll let you go right now.
Okay.
Just so we can split it up a bit.
So I'll do one of mine, then you do two of yours. I'll do one of mine. You do the rest of yours. So the one that I think is the worst fan base from personal experience, having been to the Big House, are Michigan fans. Michigan fans, for football especially. They are very much the same way. When they got Jim Harbaugh, it was Michigan back on the map. We are going to win everything. It's going to be, we might as well no one else might as well even show up to the Big House because we are going to win. Now, I'm a Michigan State fan. And I went as a Michigan State fan. I think I've never been to a sport before where I was cursed at or spat at or thrown beer on more than it was when I actually went to watch Michigan and Michigan State play. And that was in East Lansing that I went. I actually went into Michigan Stadium, Spartan Stadium, to watch the game.
Been to Spartan Stadium for a U2 concert, dry concert. People went nuts.
It was terrible. So we went with my fraternity, and we had the fire truck out, and there was a whole group of frat guys just kind of sitting around.
You're getting eaten up with Go Blue comments right now. Ohio State's
okay.
Little something.
I know, that's okay.
Uh-oh.
But as people were walking
Stealing fans.
they actually didn't even care. They didn't even care that we were a large group of young men.
No.
It was blank you guys. We're going to blank and murder you. And like, it was terrible. So Michigan, University of Michigan, worst fans for me. I'll get to my next one after you're done.
NFL, easily, I cannot stand them. The Green Bay Packer fans. And a close second, Dallas Cowboys fans. The America's team. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, you haven't been any good since like the mid '90s with Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. I'm getting tired of hearing about the Dallas Cowboys. And I also have a hate on right now for Dak Prescott because I think he's an idiot for not signing that contract. Yeah. So Packers fan there, let's go. Aaron Rodgers doing the belt thing. That's too much, man. Like, I'm with Mike. Hate the cheeseheads. That's right. I'm so over Aaron Rodgers and discount double downs and everything about him. He's just goofy in my opinion. Coming up on the list, though, for me for the NFL, I hate a lot of teams. Coming up on the list for me is the New Orleans Saints, and I'm going to tell you why. They cheated. They put a bounty out on players.
Yeah,
so that's dirty in my opinion.
That was not
the
good.
coach is a goof, in my opinion, because he was in on it. Sean Payton just wanted. If I ever met him, I'd punch him right in the face. Well, yeah, probably.
All right.
But anyways,
be doing the show alone.
He just strikes me as just a guy you just want to punch in the face. Maybe I wouldn't punch him in the face because you don't want to hurt him.
He has a very punchable
face.
He's
a very punchable face.
All right.
Okay. No, I have issue with the fans too. It's not just Aaron Rodgers. But moving on, the New Orleans Saints were screwed. You know what I mean? Like it's always new. You know what I mean? Like
excuses, a lot of excuses.
A lot of excuses there. A lot of dirty play. A lot of everything that just makes you want to hate a team. So we'll go back to Brandon now.
All right, my next one does not come from any of the North American sports. It actually comes from overseas, and you might just agree with me just for the sake of it, but it's Manchester United. I have not seen a more pretentious fan base, very much thinking that they are also going to win every single year. I love when they lose to teams that they should not lose to, because the fan base we didn't lose, we just ran out of time. And that's one of those things where you talk to any Manchester United fan, or if you watch any sports, watching their fans in the stands, just ridiculous nonsense that goes on at the Man U games. And I'm not even a soccer fan. Manchester United, just something about the fan base, and even as kind of the sport in general, just bugs me.
All right. So I completely agree with them. I see, World Cup time, you see all the flags flying. I know that's a country pride thing, but you see your Manchester United jerseys all the time, Rooney and all that.
Yeah.
Jail in your future, do not hit them.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with them. Like, it's just, where's your pride when something's not happening? That's what I want to say. Like, you want to be, if you're a fan, you're a fan all the time. You're a fan when they're bad. That gets me back to the Detroit situation. They don't go to the games unless they're winning. That's not being fans. You got to support your team through thick and thin. Maybe you don't watch every game, but you still support them. But anyways, moving on. We'll get on to the next one, the NBA. So I'm going to say this right now. There's something in the NBA that bothers me, and it's not a team. It's the fans of two players, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And I'm so sick of hearing about who is the GOAT, who's the greatest of all time. Who gives a shit? They're both great players. They're both great for their time. Why can't they just be both the greatest of all time for their generations? Like, why can't we just get over it? You know what I mean? You just want to compare everything. But if I have to pick a team for the NBA, and this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, the Toronto Raptors. Because 3 years ago, none of you out there were fans. Trust me, I know. We had literally nobody coming into the shop asking for Toronto Raptors stuff. They go on a run, they win a championship. Everybody's a Toronto Raptors fan the next day or during the playoffs. And now that they're out of the playoffs, we're going to hear nothing. We're not going to get any more Toronto Raptors talk from these pretend fans until obviously next season starts, and they won't talk unless they're doing well.
Well, they want something to celebrate, right?
Of course they
do. That's what happens is people want something to celebrate, and Toronto, let's be honest, hasn't. The last Toronto FC, I guess, was the last championship team there. And then,
Fairweather fans.
And then the Blue Jays in 90s, but...
Floyd, you're the exception. Like, there are people that go back to the Vince Carter days and have been fans for 20 years.
Sure.
I do understand that. They were Canada's team, right, with Vancouver. Vancouver's obviously not there anymore. But it is what it is, man. Like, you can't sit there and tell me... You can't tell me, Floyd, that you're a Raptors fan for 20 years and you're not seeing an influx of fans in the last 2 years, fair-weather fans, like, come out of nowhere. You've seen it. You can't lie. What are we saying here? Agree 100%. Yeah, how many Golden Stand fates did we know in 2014? That's a perfect example.
I remember.
And how many Golden State fans do you know now? Because it's over.
Yeah, I remember seeing kids show up with Golden State Warrior stuff in class, and they're like, "You like Golden State? Oh yeah, Curry's my man."
There you go. We've got Floyd saying absolutely. There's more, and I want to throw this out there real quick. With the Raptors in mind, you seen what happened when they went to the playoffs and had some success. The Toronto Blue Jays are just as bad, in my opinion. Toronto Blue Jays 3-4 years ago, when Batista hit the home run, everybody was a Blue Jays fan all of a sudden. Give it a rest. You're full of it.
All right. Do you chirp fans? While you were talking, I had a kind of... I think my being a fan has evolved over time, much like yours has. When I go to a live game, I don't dress up. I don't paint my face. I don't even like wearing another guy's name on my back, even though I have a bunch of jerseys. I have a Brady jersey. I have some Yzerman jerseys, a Howe jersey. I don't really like putting it out there that way. So I don't necessarily I won't chirp a fan. just because I want to cause trouble. But I will back up if someone starts to act like an idiot at a game. Because when particularly football, because you tailgate and you have a few drinks beforehand, and then you will end up with some goofball who's had too much to drink, wants to run his mouth. I've actually seen a guy push girls at games and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that I don't like. So at that point in time, somebody has to step in. Whether it's me or someone else, it doesn't necessarily matter. I'm there for a reason, which is to watch the game, have a good time. I don't want some idiot causing nonsense around me. So no, I'm not much of a fan chirper from that standpoint, unless someone decides to start something.
Okay, so here's a perfect example of me keeping things cool. So my old man's actually watching the show tonight. He can remember this. We went to a hockey game in Ottawa. The Montreal Canadiens were playing the Ottawa Senators. This is still back when I think Camilleri was still there, so it's quite a while ago anyways. But anyways, we're sitting in the upper bowl. Ottawa got out to a very quick 3-0 lead in the first period. We had our Montreal jerseys on. We weren't there. We never said a thing to any of these people, and they turned around and you idiots, this, effing this, and all that. And I want to tell you something. By the end of the first period, Montreal was leading 5-3, and we never said a word. But they never said a word for the rest of the night. They just sat there and shut up. Montreal ended up winning the game 6-3 and totally dominated the rest of the game. Just a couple bad bounces to start the game. I literally said to my dad, I'm like, did we just drive all this way to watch our team get destroyed? Because we were going to back-to-back games, Montreal and Detroit, in Ottawa and then in Montreal. So it didn't start off that well, but I think they won both games on the weekend. But anyways, that's instant karma for you. And the reason I want to say this to you Chirp fans, he's online tonight. Alex yesterday was chirping me about the Bears. Everybody knows I'm a Bears fan. The Bears looked absolutely horrible yesterday. I even said to Alex, yes, congratulations, the Lions are going to be 1-0. Like, who cares, right? I didn't downplay that they didn't, I basically said the Bears D doesn't look as good as previous years and the offense couldn't do anything like usual. But by the end of the game, obviously you guys know that the Bears came back and won the game. It was kind of dramatic in the end. It was Detroit being Detroit with the SOL, same old Lions. There you go, talking about the Lions. But I didn't respond to Alex and say, hey, look, you dummy. You're like, shut your mouth, you big loser. It's not something I do. Like, I'm not a big guy to chirp somebody. But I'm with Brandon on this. If somebody goes on and they're very uneducated about what they're talking about, or they're just overly obnoxious about what they're saying, I'm just reel it in a little bit. You know what I mean?
Curious to know about any of you guys out there. Have you been to a sporting event where you have been guilty of this, or have you had it done to you? I do want to comment on Owen's comment. He says, we all know that Brandon loves to chirp and hype himself. His diploma, because I was his teacher, came with a laser tag score showing that I destroyed the entire class. But that's not me chirping you. That's me showing you that I dominated you with love. With love.
I disagree. That's that's a terrible thing to crush a kid's confidence like that. But
I believe my name was Superman when we did the laser tag.
Not the greatest thing to do to beat up little kids, but whatever.
Beating them up. We had a lot more targets. There was only 7 of us, and there was like 22 kids or something like that. So we had a lot more targets to hit when we played.
But tell us what you guys think. We got a lot of Lions talk going on over here. Bears made AP look like he was 27 again,
which was interesting because last week we talked about whether or not what Adrian Peterson would bring to the Lions.
We didn't know if he'd have that big of an impact.
Yeah, and just real quickly, I'm going to chirp you for 1 second, actually, from your show last week. You said Larry Fitzgerald, 100 receptions, 1,000 yards. Do you know what he got last week?
I think he had 41 yards.
He had 4 receptions for 34 yards.
34 yards?
34
okay.
yards.
Yeah, first game.
But
look what Hopkins did.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So Hopkins
151?
Hopkins isn't going to do that every game. Hopkins is going to be... Hopkins will get 10 receptions a game, not 14. Those other 4 will get split between them. I could see Larry Fitzgerald getting an extra couple receptions. It's the first game. They wanted... Hold on. So, I'm going to tell you something right now. I've said it all along. Sports are fixed. Sports generate revenue.
Revenue. Money. It's
Okay?
money. Yep.
So, the league comes in and says, hey, we want Kyler Murray and Hopkins to have a huge game because we want to get this ball rolling, right?
Yep.
So, throw the ball to him every chance you get. Make him look like a superstar. Well, he is a superstar, but make him look real good so we can sell a ton of Hopkins jerseys in his new Arizona Cardinals jersey. So, it was set up from the start. But how about I chirp you with Tom Brady?
Oh, we sucked. He was terrible.
Everybody out there saying Tom Brady. How many catches did Gronk have?
What do you have, 2?
I don't know.
I think he had 2. He didn't have
All
many.
I know is they lost. I saw an interesting maymays. I call them maymays. People call them memes.
Yep.
I saw an interesting maymays, and it was...
Sounds like mayonnaise.
Yeah, Tom Brady. I'm the best quarterback in the NFC, and then it shows Rodgers and Wilson say, "Look at this guy talking," right? And it says, "Well, at least I'm the best quarterback in the division." It says, and then it shows Drew Brees like, "Hold on a minute," and then he's like, "Oh, at least I'm the best quarterback in Florida." And then Gardner Minshew's like, "What'd you say, bro?" Like he's literally not the best at any of those things right now.
Yeah.
I know it's been one game, but let's be honest. I called it early out the gate. He does not have the arm strength anymore. Okay, pull up the box score, and tell me what Mike Evans did yesterday as a deep threat.
What he did as a deep threat. Okay, hang on a sec. So,
What he did, period.
All right.
So, what I'm saying is Tom Brady is going to ruin that team. So Tom Brady cannot throw the ball down the field, and you've got 2 of your top targets, Godwin, and Mike Evans, the top 2 guys with 50-yard catches or more in the league last year. They're going to be ineffective in that Tom Brady offense, and he's going to show you. Go to the game.
They can't see it. They can see you.
Okay, you guys can't see this right now, but we're pulling up the stats. You guys will not believe. Mike Evans, literally one of the best wide receivers in the league. I want Brandon to read off his stats for you. If we can pull them up.
We can get him. Hang on a sec.
We're working on it.
I want the box score.
Stats, middle of the...
Right
the
here,
box
yeah,
score
that's what I
there.
want.
We're working on it.
Okay, so for the Bucks, so receiving yards for Godwin was 6 receptions for 79 yards.
Yeah.
Miller 5 for 73.
Keep going.
Gronkowski was 2 for 11. Mike
Where is
Evans
he?
1 for 2.
Mike Evans, the big deep threat, arguably, he's an all-pro receiver, arguably one of the best receivers in the league. 1 catch for 2 yards yesterday. That's Tom Brady.
Was not. Leonard Fournette got 1 reception for 14. Was not a good game.
Yeah, so Gronkowski, 2 receptions for 11 yards. All the weapons. I went down the list. I'm like, he's got a ton of weapons there.
He does.
And he literally did nothing with them. So Mike Evans was hurt. Okay, so maybe he had a nagging injury, but we're just saying, like, the guy, Tom Brady is not going to be able to. Tom Brady's not going to be able to produce that kind of numbers with those guys.
I don't know. It's going to rely on yards after catch, I think.
Okay, so I'm reading the comments here. Alex says, chirping fans at youth sporting events.
Oh, wow. That's a totally different topic we could talk about, but you are absolutely right. Dance moms, hockey moms.
Dance moms.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm getting into professional gymnastics soon with the ribbon. And if anybody starts chirping me, I'll just jump in the crowd and beat the shit out of them.
No, that's an interesting...
Gymnast gone wild.
That's a really interesting... You're right. Listening to hockey moms especially around here, they seem to be
they get
pretty,
a little out of
pretty
control.
brutal.
The old ladies in Florida dig Brady. That is the retirement community.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We have the biggest upset of the weekend. I was mainly thinking football with this.
Me too.
With the NFL kicking off, but a lot of people might say that the Raptors losing Game 7 was an upset. Okay, we got lacrosse games, bad fans, lots of fighting. I do notice that with soccer too. We'll get back to that in a second. But I was at a soccer game here in Chatham. We had a baseball practice at St. Clair College, and the soccer game next to us, a guy stabbed a guy on the field.
You saw that?
Yeah, well, we saw the commotion, and then we went over, and then found out that a brawl had broken out and a guy stabbed a player. Literally 2 players on the field. One guy got kicked in the face.
With what? What, he stabbed him with what?
A knife. He brought a knife on the field and
stabbed. How do you bring in? Why do you bring a knife to a soccer game?
Look, when I play soccer, I always have some type of weaponry on me.
What was that movie where the running back had the gun?
I have no idea.
There was a movie where the running back.
Weird movies.
Yeah, there was a movie where the running back had a gun and he shot his way to the end zone. I can't remember what it was. It was a college movie, I think.
All right, we're getting off topic
sorry,
here. If anybody knows the name of that movie, throw it up so we can figure that out. But anyways, biggest upset of the weekend. You can go ahead with this one.
So I'm going to go back to the NFL prediction show, and I'm going to talk about a team that I didn't think, like I was literally going to give them a 1-15 season, but I gave them 2-14 to start the season because I didn't think they were going to do anything at all. And I was incredibly surprised when I was listening to NFL radio on the way down. And Floyd, you are 100% correct. I cannot believe the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Indianapolis Colts. I just absolutely cannot believe. I don't know if that's Indy laying an egg or that Jacksonville actually was able to muster even a modicum of offense because they had such an exodus of players getting the hell out of Jacksonville. Like, I honestly thought you could have had the Chatham Cougars play the Jacksonville Jaguars and at least put up a fight. And I was amazed to see Jacksonville actually pick up a W against Indy and Phillips Rivers.
We talked about parity in the NFL. They're all pros.
They are.
So if you have a 53-man roster, I guarantee you, last Boy Scout.
Thank you. That is it. That is it. The last Boy Scout.
I guarantee you that they have 53 NFL players on their team.
Yes.
Okay, so Jacksonville has an exodus of players. You're saying that. I can totally understand maybe they don't have elite players. But I'm telling you right now, with the parity in the NFL, you don't need elite anymore. You just need solid play. You need good coaching, solid play. You need to be able to do run the play, or you need to be able to run the ball. You need to be able to throw the ball.
Yes.
If you can have a mix of an offense and a solid defense, you can beat anybody in the NFL on any given Sunday, and that's a movie you need to watch.
Yeah.
We got a couple comments coming here, not necessarily. Blah, 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 blah. What's your deal with UFC, man?
He loves MMA. Good for you, Owen. I did not watch any MMA highlights, so I don't even know who he's talking about.
Yeah, so...
But I did watch Cobra Kai.
For those of you out there watching Cobra Kai, I've made it through the first season. Kind of fell asleep in the second season, first episode, but I'll get to it. But anyways, I want to bring up my biggest upset of the weekend. It's not so much an upset, but I think it happened quicker than I thought it would. Arizona winning. I thought they went up against the NFC champions, San Francisco. I think it's just a case of San Francisco wasn't ready to play, or Arizona's going to be really tough this year. They got a ton of weapons there too. They brought in Hopkins. Fitzgerald had a mediocre game, I guess, 4 catches, you said.
Yeah, 34.
But they've always is David Johnson still there running the ball?
I don't think so.
Who's the running back now?
I'm gonna have to look that up.
You know what I mean? Like Kyler Murray's top notch. I can't remember who Arizona's running back is. I apologize for that right now.
Yeah, I can't remember every single roster either.
Yeah, rosters are tough. Hockey's a little easier for me. But Washington beating the Eagles in Week 1, also coming back from 17 down. That's a huge upset as well.
Yeah.
Washington was probably... Obviously, those are our top 3 upsets. I also think, David Johnson was in the trade.
I thought so. I mean, let's see who their running back was.
Obviously, those were 3 major upsets. I do have Oakland now. The Las Vegas Raiders as an upset, too. I believe they beat... Who did they beat?
They did win.
I know they won.
But you had it as an upset?
I had it as an upset, yes.
You had Oakland to go really well in the NFL prediction pool, though.
Kenyon Drake, coming over from Miami, I believe, is now Arizona's running back.
And he actually had less rushing yards than Kyler Murray.
That's understandable. Well, look at Cam Newton as well, had the most rushing yards for New England.
Yes, he did.
So it does happen. I believe, no, I don't think so. I was going to say
they beat Carolina
as well.
They beat Carolina.
Carolina. So, that was the Vegas?
That was the Vegas, yeah.
So Vegas beating Carolina is probably not that big of an upset. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm big on Vegas this year. I think they're going to the playoffs.
Now, I'd be really curious to know if we're going to continue to see upsets until you start to see the
4-game buffer that they used to have.
The teams all of a sudden get into a rhythm type thing.
So everybody talks about no preseason this year, so you're going to see more upsets. I don't think so. Because if you really think about it, preseason was mainly used to determine spots for players that were
for the
fighting for
roster.
spots.
Yeah, for the roster. Yeah.
Okay. Starters maybe got into maybe a half of football in the last game of the preseason.
Yep.
So really, did they lose that much?
I think so because
I think what you've seen, especially if you look at it this way, you had we're talking about Washington coming back to beat them from 17 down. So maybe it took a half for those guys to get into rhythm.
To kind of wake up.
The Chicago Bears did the exact same thing. You've seen a ton of comebacks yesterday in the NFL.
I think any amount of reps that you can get, I think, is going to be important, particularly when you're not doing it in practice, where you're actually hitting players. Like I think that's the kind of thing that they need to get their bodies back into, get accustomed to, because they don't do hitting practice anymore in the NFL. So it's just it's more like touch football. So
no, I get it, but these guys have been hit 100,000 times already.
Yep.
They know how to take a hit. They know what it feels like. It's nothing new to them. Rookie coming into the NFL, maybe he's never been hit by a Khalil Mack or a guy like that, or a Donald.
Hurt.
But you know what I mean? Like maybe they haven't been hit by a guy that size, but probably, but not that frequent, because they kind of weed out the it's all elite players now, right?
True, but there's got to be some type of rust.
You're getting hit by the biggest, fastest guys on the planet.
Yeah, but there's got to be some type of rust. Like if you haven't played and you haven't exercised those muscles in an adequate way, it's got to be a lot tougher to actually jump into a game where you start doing it. And I know from experience when I do running, like I train all year to run my Spartan races, which we'll talk about for sports I want to try after. And then if I don't run these races or I don't trail run, it's incredibly difficult to run those distances, even the short ones. Your body's just not used to doing it, but by the end of the season, I could run them no problem. Like you just have to build up the muscle memory to it, and I know that they don't have as much time off. Well, maybe they did because COVID and whatever, and they missed the preseason. So it would be I don't know. I'm curious. I would like to see where the standings are at after that 4 games, and to see if there's any widening of the gap in terms of the top echelon teams versus the lower ones.
So after week 1, they've all had a full game now at full speed. Week 2 will start to determine where teams actually are. You're going to see maybe the Tampa Bay Bucks have a better game because they're more fluid now. Maybe they're, you know what I mean.
I wouldn't be surprised to see changes in playbooks and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Because now you know what you got. Now you know what speed you're running at as well.
Absolutely.
And also, there's injuries from week to week, too, so it's going to be how teams adjust. So I'm interested to see what your biggest upset of the weekend is if you're commenting along right now. Throw your upset up there and we can talk about it. We got about a minute and a half to go.
Yep.
Then we're going to move on to what sport do you want to try?
Yeah, and it's actually something I'm kind of excited to talk about this because it's something that my daughter found. And I just found out that this sport actually existed. And I watched some of this stuff on TV and I thought it was amazingly difficult and a challenge, but I would love the opportunity to try it.
Floyd brings up the way Green Bay blew out the Vikings yesterday. I could kind of see that coming. I think Minnesota's going to have a very bad year. I think their offense kind of keeps them in it, but they're going to lose a lot of games because they lost, 7 defensive starters?
7 defensive starters.
We talked about this on our NFL preview show, that I think that division is prime for the taking for the Bears. It's one of those 3 teams. The Lions are the same old Lions again from the looks of things. I think the Lions at best are a 500 football team, and that's giving them a lot of credit. Obviously, they have some serious issues in the safety position, cornerback position. They had 2 guys go down yesterday, so now they're on their 4th or 5th starters.
You think Patricia's done?
Who cares?
I think he's done. I think he's got to be. I don't know who they're going to pull in next, but I think Patricia, this is his last season in Detroit. And Bob Quinn, too. I think Bob Quinn may be done as well.
Yeah, so biggest upsets this weekend. We think people are saying that Rodgers looked vintage yesterday. Until he gets popped in the mouth by the Chicago defense, he looks awesome.
Yep. All right.
Last topic. What sport? This is one of those ones that we want to hear from you guys, obviously. What sport do you want to try? There's not a lot of sports that I haven't played. Obviously, some extreme sports. I've never really got into that, but team sports, all of them probably.
Yeah, I played most of them.
Growing up, I was always sporty and liked to play. 1-15 for the. No, they're not going to go 1-15.
Patricia's gone by week 5.
I don't think Patricia. I think Patricia lasts the season because of the COVID. I think everybody gets a free pass this year.
I'm almost positive. Has Martha Ford or has the Fords ever fired a coach midway through a season? I can't remember the last coach that they fired mid-season.
Okay, so that's a conversation for another day.
Sure. Yeah.
We can't go. We got some answers coming in right now. We've got cricket as one of the only sports that I've never played except for extreme sports. Interesting thing. I drive by St. Clair College at night now. Late at night, they do have guys out there playing cricket right now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat to see. It's growing in our community. Obviously, our community's diversifying as well, so you're going to see that. You're going to see a lot more soccer in the area and cricket. But anyways, just one of those really cool things to see. So if you ever wanted to play cricket, Owen, just pop by I think it was on Monday nights or Sunday nights, but if you pop by St. Clair College and just watch, I'm sure they'll let you come out and try it. You know what I mean? Usually sports are a community thing, so you just tell them you're just interested. Maybe they'll let you play.
If he has time. Owen's a working man now. Proud of you, dude. Got himself a job.
All right.
Working really hard and going to school.
All right, so I kind of segued this earlier on. What is the most dangerous sport to play? I am going back to Hawaii for my 40th birthday. I didn't do it last time I was there. I really regret not doing it, but I've been really trying to lose quite a bit of weight so I can do this, and I'm going to try surfing for the first time. I'm going to surf Waikiki Beach where they have like 5 or 6 foot waves, but it is a huge accomplishment for me because hopefully I can do it. You know, getting up on a board's not the easiest thing to do. The force of the ocean and everything about it is just unbelievable. I have been body surfing before, and that was a lot of fun. For those of you that have never felt the ocean's power, for a guy that's been 300 pounds or more since he was 18, 19 years old, I'm a big dude, and just to have the waves just throw you around like you're a feather, it's just unbelievable the amount of power that is sitting behind you.
Do you have a bit of fear of that, or is it more of a healthy respect of what the ocean can do?
Brian Parker. So I don't have a fear of, let's say, drowning, because I'm actually a really good swimmer, if I do say so myself. I do swim at the Y, well, I used to until it got shut down, but I was a pretty good swimmer growing up. But I think the fear for me comes in the X factors. I'm terrified that a shark is just going to grab me by the ankle. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things like, I can go out in the ocean and I'm fine. You know what I mean? As long as my feet, my thing is, as long as my feet are touching the ground, I'm safe. Okay? But if I'm in free water, like, what's around me? I don't know what's out there, and it scares the shit out of me, really. But I have been shark cage diving, but again, you have the cage as a buffer, as a protection. I love sharks. I think they're amazing animals. But it's not just sharks. It's jellyfish. It's everything. The coral can kill you. Like, we've been over it.
You ever snorkel or scuba dive or anything?
Yeah. So I went snorkeling Hanama Bay in Hawaii. One of the coolest things I've ever done with a seal suit. Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to look like a giant seal when you're out surfing. So a lot of people are saying surfing is their thing. Like Brian and Owen both saying same or maybe they're just agreeing about the sharks.
I'm assuming. Unless they're San Jose Sharks, in which case no one cares about them.
So surfing, it's just one of the. I'll get back to that. But he was asking me, have I ever snorkeled or scuba dive? Scuba dive is another thing that I will not do. I have a fear of running out of air and getting the bends coming back up, kind of thing. There's no way that I want to go 100 feet down into the ocean with no light and then be stuck. You know what I mean? Cage dive. I know it's not a sport. So Floyd, come with me to Hawaii. We'll go to the North Shore and I'll take you out cage diving, man. Like, I've done it before. My brother and I did it. Unbelievable experience. You get in the cage. Galapagos sharks, hammerhead sharks, white tip sharks. No great whites there. Not native to the area. Tiger sharks are around and they're badasses. You don't want to mess with them. Very, very rare that you see a bull shark there. We're talking about man-eaters. So tiger sharks, bull sharks, makos. And and great whites are the four perpetrators that kill a lot of people.
I think I read a story that they released 3 sharks into whatever the shark that can survive the freshwater. I think they were bull sharks.
Bull sharks, they for a certain amount of time, yeah.
Yeah, they released them into the Great Lakes to try and fight invasive species.
That's probably a myth.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure
I know bull
that.
sharks do swim into brackish, which is where saltwater and freshwater meet. They call it brackish. So they come up the St. Lawrence River or St. Lawrence Seaway quite a bit, and they come into the Virginia area. But Brian Parker. I think Brian's been to Hawaii. I don't know. I think he said he's been there. Waikiki Beach is actually quite shallow. It does drop off. You go in and there's kind of a drop off, but it's probably about 4 to 5 feet. Then there's some open water, and then there's a bunch of sandbars as you go out. But so Waikiki Beach, very dangerous though, surfing Waikiki Beach because of the fact that it is so shallow. So if you fall off your board and you're a guy my size, you're surfing over a 6 or 7 foot sandbar, because that's what's making the waves is the sandbars and the coral. That's what's pushing the waves. So what you're looking at there is I could fall off my board and smack my head off the bottom of the ocean floor. So that's a serious concern for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a very dangerous sport that if we're still doing out of bounds, which we hope to be by then, I will be reporting live from Hawaii at Waikiki Beach for my 40th birthday surfing.
I did find that story in April. It's a pilot project where they're going to release freshwater sharks in Lake Huron to control Asian carp. So it's something that is going to happen.
So you do not want to swim in Lake Huron.
Yeah. Okay, so I got about 3 minutes, and I'm going to really quickly back this up. I do obstacle course racing in my spare time. So I do Spartan races. They're kind of like Tough Mudders, but they're a lot more physical. And my daughter, Chloe, is very much an athlete and has done them too. The kids Spartan races, loves them. She found something online on Netflix called Eco Challenge. And Eco Challenge is a enormous race over an 11-day period. So the one that I saw was 671 kilometers over 11 days. And the pro teams were finished in 5. Like the first day that these guys went out, they did for 30 hours, and they went 130 kilometers running, hiking in the dark, paddling. They were on an outrigger type boat. They were trekking through the jungle with a navigator. They had to do some swimming, and I love the whole physicality of doing the Spartan races, and I would love an opportunity to do a race like the Eco Challenge. Maybe not to the extent of what Fiji was, but I know they offer some here in Ontario. I haven't looked into it all that much, but it is definitely a team style thing. And you were watching people do all different kinds of, like they had to climb rocks with the harnesses built in. They had to spelunk down the sides of mountains. I love the idea of pushing your body to see what it can do. And watching some of these teams, there were a number of teams that they had to mountain bike through like pure mud, carry their bikes up hills. I love the whole idea of challenging my body to be able to do this. And I was, just real quickly because we've got a minute, there were teams where they had people who were in their 50s and 60s actually doing it, which makes me think I'm a pretty healthy guy. I run these races anyway. That it would be challenging, yes, because I hate cold. I hate swimming in cold water, and I don't really operate all that well when I don't get a significant amount of sleep. And I'm not saying 9 to 10 hours, but I can survive on 6 hours. These guys were doing 2 hours of sleep, then 24 straight hours of whatever. Sounds like a lot of fun to me. Just to say whether or not I could actually do it.
It kind of sounds to me like almost like The Amazing Race, but with with more physical sport. To
Highly more physical, yeah. It was incredible what these athletes were doing.
Sounds pretty cool. Obviously, there's sports out there that the average person can't do. Gymnastics is not one of them. So I did mention that I was going to train for 2 or 3 weeks and become an Olympic style ribbon gymnast. But beer is good. But he's saying like American Ninja Warrior. Yeah, so American Ninja Warrior is what kind of Brandon's talking about right now. It's one of those things where you have to be completely a finely tuned athlete because it's a little bit of everything. Like there's water, there's ropes, there's literally everything.
Well, even just knowing how to navigate, because you have to read a compass and they only give you a topographical map and it only shows you like elevations. and you have to be able to say, okay, well, that's the East, that's the West. We got to go, I don't know, you don't flip a coin and say there. Because there were teams who were lost for hours.
Yep.
And you have to hit these checkpoints at certain times. So it was, and watching, like, there was a couple of people, one guy went into extreme hypothermia, and they had to take like a 6-hour break and wrap this guy up in like a cocoon of warming stuff. Another guy running the first day, he had heat stroke, he bonked, and they had to drag him in his underwear by a horse to get him to where he needed to go. And then there was a female athlete who got trench foot. Her feet were so waterlogged from being in the water and being so cold all the time that her feet started to turn like spots of red, and they had to pull them out of the race.
Wow. Yeah, so good things brought up. PEDs, people that do like Ninja Warrior and stuff like that, they can't train, like, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but they're extreme athletes, but to train at that level non-stop to be a Ninja Warrior,
yeah,
probably some assistance happening there. Just for, you can't train that much, like, it's unbelievable.
We should go on Wipeout.
Yeah. Team out of bounds on Wipeout.
All right, so we are into the last 5 minutes of the show. This is the opportunity for Mike to do his closing and you guys to get any last-minute comments in. Again, thank you so much for being a part of the show and throwing your comments in. We love interacting with you. Mike, it's all yours.
Yeah, tons of fun tonight. Do they not urine test? It's a television show. I don't think they urine test, Owen. It's one of those things that's like wrestling has PED laws too, but
yeah.
Let's just put it this way. A lot of those guys get a free pass. Brock Lesnar, I'm not sure about guys. Like, there's been guys in wrestling that definitely have used steroids, and they never got caught. So it's just how big of a star you are, and obviously Brock, to make an example out of him, they did bust him with it once, but he just wanted some time off. So, and they did it with Roman Reigns, and they did it with Hulk Hogan, and it's just to show them that they are doing it, but they just get a vacation, if you're being honest. But moving on, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We have time for some final questions. I thought tonight's show was a lot of fun.
It was.
Mostly an interactive show here. We had a ton of back and forth with you guys on tonight's subjects. Maybe we go this road a little bit more often with less stats, more talk, but we want to keep the show professional as well. So we do have to filter that in and out when we see fit. We did have some stats tonight. We brought up the NFL.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans for sure. But for the most part, it was just two guys sitting around talking sports and fun things they'd like to do in sports, and we're glad that you guys tuned in and talked with us, or, conversed with us, talked with us. I sound like an amateur here. But anyways, before you guys go, definitely hit the like button on tonight's show if you did like the show. It's very easy to do. It's something we haven't been telling people to do, but we should be. Everybody else on YouTube does it. And if you're watching for the first time on the... what was the word I'm looking for?
Replay, on the replay.
They're on the replay. Yeah, I can't figure it out. Like, I'm just having this replay.
It's amateur hour now.
It's amateur hour. If you're watching on the replay, definitely give us the like as well, and then subscribe, because we do these videos every Monday night at 8 p.m. The show's called Out of Bounds. We also have, thanks for the memories, we also have, hold on, we got a ton of comments coming in before we get to the final. Oh, we got 100 comments now. VOD. What's he talking about there? We got too many comments coming in all at once. Kind of blowing up on the right-hand side.
Video on demand, yeah. He means video on demand.
Video on demand, okay. So, I'm just trying... Everybody's saying great show. We appreciate that. We appreciate the instant feedback. I'd love to sit here and talk to you all night, but I got a baby at home that I got to go see.
Yeah, I have a real job now again.
Yeah.
Boo.
And I don't have a real job.
Sorry.
But we're both extremely busy right now, so this is the other reason we went to a just talk type show tonight with less stats and facts. So we just wanted to have some fun with you guys. We will be back next Monday night at 8 p.m. to do it all over again. If you guys want to see a topic get talked about, let us know. We thought tonight's were a lot of fun. But yeah, we'll throw something together for next Monday night and be ready for episode 5 of Out of Bounds.
Yep.
But if you can't wait to see us, and I know you can't, you can always come back on Thursday night for our weekly singles night here at Rocket Sports Cards, where we do 50 cards in 50 minutes, and maybe you'll buy something. It's a claim show. It's a ton of fun. We talk a ton of sports during that as well. We want to pump one of our special episodes coming up. If you haven't watched the football episode yet, the preview episode, definitely go back and watch that. That was a lot of fun. But coming up, we do have our NHL draft show coming up. There it is, Tuesday, October 6th. It is also the return of Hockey Card Night in Canada. If you don't collect, that's okay. But if you want to know more about that as well, just shoot me a message. But NHL draft show, that's going to be awesome. I don't have the time yet for what time the draft starts, but I think we'll probably be on air right around 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So 7 o'clock, they'll probably it's going to be probably our longest running show, just because the first round does take quite a while. No special announcements for Series 1 just yet. We'll talk about that on singles night, though. We'll keep the sports card talk to a minimum during Out of Bounds. I hope you guys appreciated the show tonight. We had a lot of fun doing it. And I just want to say good night to everybody, and we'll see you Thursday night.
Thanks very much, guys. Can't wait to see you again.